everyone. Good morning. Good morning. If you have the capability, please sign in and say hi. Just have to give me your first name and where you are watching from. That would be great for the others too to see how we have people from all over the world watching our yoga class. I know some of you cast this to your TV or watch it straight from your Roku or from your Fire Stick. But if you can and you have the ability to just check in and say hi, that would be great. Amelia was just checking in and she said where she is in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, it is cold, very, very cold, and snow on the ground again. Last week, she had summer. This week, she's getting winter again, and that's kind of the way it is in the north, where we don't know from one day to the next during the month of March and sometimes well into April if we're going to have a warm day or a freezing cold day. It can't make up its mind, but once it does, then we get beautiful hot weather for several months. Alyssa, good morning. And Dottie, good morning. It's cold and sunny. What is your definition of cold, Dottie? I'd like to know what in Raleigh cold feels like, because in the north, cold is probably close to zero in Fahrenheit, or below zero in Fahrenheit for us in the north. 50 degrees, at least this time of year, feels really nice. But it's fun to see what people's definition of cold is depending on where they live in the world. So make sure you've got all of your stuff that you need for Yin Yoga. Okay, Dottie is saying, anything below 60 degrees, well, right now up here, 60 degrees would be like a blessing because we'd be out there practically, well, some people, not me, in t-shirts. Some people are out there when the weather gets to about 60 degrees, acting like it's about 80 degrees. I don't know why those people can do that. I cannot. But it was 42 when you woke up. Yeah, that's cold. 42 is cold. And Joyce is in Florida, and she says it's 73, and we all hate Joyce right now. No, I'm only kidding, Joyce. I wish I was down there with you in Florida, because 73 right now would feel really good to these bones. All right, how are we doing? How are we doing here? We got a good crowd starting up. Okay, Janet is checking in, and she's in the UK. She was away for 2 weeks. And it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon in the UK, and she says it's a beautiful sunny day, 21 degrees, which would be in Fahrenheit about 72 degrees. That's nice. That's nice for the UK this time of year. And Alyssa Webner is checking in. She says it's a few degrees above zero. She means 0 Celsius, which is 32 degrees. So it's probably about 35 degrees in Thornhill, Ontario, which is just around the Toronto area. And Dottie's laughing at us, me. Well, I'm glad to see you're all here for Yin. Now, make sure you've got the stuff you need for Yin. And most importantly, I want you to put on a pair of socks. I know normally in yoga, we do not wear socks because we don't want to be slipping and sliding on the mat, but we're not doing anything that's going to require us to worry about our balance or slippage on the mat. We want to keep our feet warm. And as a matter of fact, if it's at all possible, and you won't get a lot of complaints from somebody else in the house, turn your thermostat up just a tiny bit or put a couple of warm tops on, like a sweater and then a sweatshirt, and get your body warm. Yin Yoga is a type of hot yoga, actually. And when we do Yin Yoga in the studio, we always make sure the yoga studio is very, very warm because we want our muscles to stretch. And warmth will help them to relax and to stretch. If you're feeling chilled or cold, you're going to end up wanting your muscles are going to want to contract and get tight so that they get closer to the bone and wrap the bone and start to generate a little bit of heat closer to the joints. So we want to be able to relax those joints. We want to be able to relax those muscles. So warmth is your friend. Sweatpants, sweatshirt, You want to almost start sweating when you're doing yin yoga. And Suzanne is here from the Toronto area. Hi, Suzanne. Good to see you here this morning. So I have a few announcements. I'm just going to go over them as quickly as I can, just to make sure that there's no confusion about this week, especially. Now, I suddenly realized on Friday that the next Friday was going to be Good Friday. And for a lot of people, that's an important day of observance. So it's normally a day off for a lot of people if they are still able to go to work or are working from home. So I thought that maybe for the best, and maybe I'm making a mistake on this because it really didn't matter to me, but I thought maybe I would switch it to Thursday. So I put it out there as being, instead of Friday afternoon, being Thursday afternoon at the same time, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or New York time. And for everyone else, we would just have to adjust if you're outside of that time zone, either adding or taking for Thursday. And I hope that isn't going to screw anybody's life up. If I get a preponderance of you messaging me on Facebook telling me that really sucks, but I have sent it out Friday with the newsletter. So you have already kind of got a sneak peek at that. And I put it on our Facebook feed yesterday as a posting of all of the month of April, what the classes are going to be. That's pretty much what I'm going to be committed to for this month. And I want you to hopefully be able to join me on Thursday afternoon. I'd like, although, you know, it doesn't matter to me if I do this on Friday or Thursday, I would like to take the time on Friday because my daughter will be home and her husband and my grandkids. And maybe if we want to do something, I won't have to like skip out on that. So, and perhaps you'll have the same thing happening. Hi, Susan Edwards. Nice to hear from you. So you've been away. Oh yeah, that's right. You had contractors in. That's right. I remember you telling me that a few weeks ago. So you've been watching the video feeds after the class. I'm glad that you were able to do that. And that's the benefit of this particular way of doing the YouTube feed, is that if you can join live, it's a live experience. And if you can't, you can always watch it. Or even if you really like the class and want to do it again, like another yin class this week, then you can rewatch the video at your leisure. Okay, so the other thing I want to make sure that you're very clear about is on April the 16th, which is the Friday class, there will be no class and there'll be no substitute class. I'm going to be away from just shortly after we finish our Tuesday morning class that week, which is the 13th. I'll be leaving to go away for a few days to do an art retreat. So I'm going out into the woods and I'm just hoping and praying that the weather gods will be nice to me and it will be pleasant, that there'll be no snow or there'll be at least above freezing temperatures, because it's a beautiful little cabin in the woods. It's very rustic, no running water, outside toilet. But for an artist who wants to spend a few days just being able to get away from technology and get away from everybody else in the world, it's going to be like a wonderful thing to do. And I'm looking very much forward to it. It's my little gift to myself for having to have been locked up in COVID land for so long. And because where it is, I don't have to worry about mask wearing. I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. I just bring everything I need to last for the rest of the week that I'm there. And it's going to be cool. So keep that in mind. Make a note on your calendar that there will be no Friday class. And I'll remind you on the Tuesday that particular week. So that is April the 16th. So other than that, I printed off this from the download that I did for this particular thing that I set up. It's on Facebook. So if you download the image to your computer, you can print this off and then you will know what's to be expected on any day given in the month of April. Lots of yin yoga this month. I noticed a lot of you had answered back that you would love to do a little bit more yin yoga. So we'll try that. We'll see how it goes. And if we have not too many complaints about the yin being more dominant this month, then I'll make sure we have at least 2 to 3 yin yoga classes a month, depending, and I'll alternate it between being on a Tuesday and a Friday. Dottie says, ooh, is that because, I'm going off into the woods? And Millie says, that sounds lovely, and I hope it is. I hope it's everything I'm imagining it is, because I'm going to fill my car up with all the stuff I need to do some painting, and I'll get some peace and quiet out in the woods. I'm not going alone. I'm taking my daughter. She is a writer. She's got a book coming out, and as soon as I get my hands on a hard copy of it, I will let you know what it is. It's a children's book called The Door. It's a very short little book about a little girl who is frightened by the closed door in her bedroom. She likes to also get away and take some time to be away from all the kids and the noise and the technology, to immerse herself in her writing. So between me painting and her writing, we should have a good time. Anyway, let's get started. I'm talking too much, as usual. So we're going to begin in a seated position. So if you want to get a small cushion, just grab your cushion, lift your hips up a little higher, and we're going to come into our easy pose. So whatever your easy pose is looking like right now, I want you to find your first impulse and how you are putting yourself into that easy pose, whether your legs are crossed right in front or left in front, doesn't matter to me. Whether you have your knees up high or your legs stretched out a lot more, it's up to you, but just make sure wherever you're at, you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable, that you're not in pain, but you're not so comfy that you could sit there absolutely all day like that. So make sure you're feeling just a little uncomfortable. So if you're too comfy, to start bringing those heels closer to your body, or allowing your knees to relax out just a little more, take away some of the support stuff that you might be in the habit of shoving underneath, and relax into this posture. So in yin, we spend some time in these particular postures we go into, 4 minutes at least that long, not longer than that, sometimes less, depending on the individual posture I put you into. So for now, this is our beginning posture. And I'm going to ask you to just relax yourself. Let your eyes close. Let your shoulders relax down. Take a few deep breaths. And in yin, we breathe in through the nose, but we let it go through the mouth to help to release the stress in our body. So let's take that deep breath into the belly. And on your exhale, just let it go. Take another inhale, nice and deep, pushing your belly out so your lungs can expand. And open your mouth and just sigh it out. Feel the relaxations just happening. Just like let it drop through your body. Let your shoulders drop down. Just let your arms relax in your lap. Don't worry about trying to hold them or place them. Just let everything relax. And while we're sitting here breathing and relaxing, it's just for a moment, just turn our thoughts toward all the people in the world today that could use some energy, some love, some support. Maybe they're close to you, maybe they're people you know, or maybe they're the people in the world that are suffering because of all of the violence that's going on in our world. And just bring that sensation and that energy of love into your body. As you inhale the love into your body. And as you exhale it out into the world. Sending love out toward all those people that need some loving support, whether you know them or you don't know them. And just focus on perhaps some individual that you know that you want to send some energy and love toward. Just visualize their face. And then as you exhale, send the love out to them. And as you sit here breathing, begin to think of the things in your life that you have gratitude for. All that you have. Those you love. You have a roof over your head. You have food. You have clean water to drink and to wash. Just think about what you're grateful for, what you have been blessed with. And very slowly and very gently, I want you to switch your legs. So whatever leg you had more in the front, depending on how you have set yourself up, I want you to switch it so that the leg closer to your body is now the one that's farther away. So we're just going to switch up those legs. Coming back to our relaxed seated position. Bring your awareness to your shoulders. Make sure they're relaxed down, dropping away from your ears. Feel how heavy your arms are feeling now. Just let them be heavy. And whatever position you're in at this moment, I want you just gently to sort of move your body forward, letting your belly come down toward your legs or the floor. And if you need to, you can place your hands on your thighs for support or on the floor. You can reach the floor from your position. And just tipping forward. And bring your awareness to your tailbone. And as you focus on that tailbone, try to turn it up toward the sky, tipping your pelvis. Just a little pelvic tilt. Notice what you feel when you do this. Notice what comes up. And you can stay here, or if you are able to, you can drop your belly down just a little deeper. But only if your body allows you to. Remember, we're always going for that achiness, that little bit of stretching we can detect in our joints, in our back. Take a deep breath in, and on your exhale, release through the mouth, let it go. See if you can go down and sink down just a little micro nuance more. Keep in mind, you don't have to look like me at all. As long as you are feeling a stretch, you are doing it. That's what's important. And if you're down lower, try to move yourself so that you're coming upright, using your hands to help support you, pressing into your calves, your thighs, but never into your knee joint, to push you back up to a seated position. We're going to switch the legs one more time. So one more time, put yourself back to the original position you were in. And we're going to do that forward fold from here. So sitting just quietly for a moment, letting the shoulders relax down, letting the arms get heavy. And dropping your hands down onto your legs or on toward the floor. Pushing your belly forward into the space that's either between your legs or above your legs. And go down just a little bit and focusing your energy and your thoughts toward your tailbone and trying to lift your tailbone up toward the sky, tipping your pelvis. Bring your awareness to what you feel, what you're sensing, what's going on as you do this. And then if you're able to, drop down just a little more. Just take a deep breath in. And on our exhale, relax down as far as your body will let you go. Pushing the belly down, not the head. Then slowly, slowly, using your hands, you're going to push yourself upright. Walking hands back if you're down low, or pushing into your legs or your thighs till you come into an upright position. And just sit here with your eyes closed for just a moment. Just allowing yourself to feel what you're feeling. Now, gently and slowly unfold your legs, stretch them out. And shake them if you feel like they need to be shook or jiggled or wiggled. And just quietly sit here with your eyes shut. Feel the energy that's moving through your legs as circulation comes back into them. As the muscles contract again from the stretched position, the fascia that's attached to everything. And from this position, we're going to go into the half butterfly. So we're going to leave the right leg extended out. We're going to bring our left heel in as close to our body as we are able to today. And for some of you, you might be able to get the heel close, but you won't be able to get the knee to drop. That's okay. Just allow this part of your leg to just relax out. And if you find that there's way too much tension here, it's too distracting or it's painful, then you can take your blanket or your block and you can shove that in here. Blankets are better for the reason is they have a squishability. So as your weight is relaxing, it's pushing down into the blanket. So you're still getting a little bit more stretching happening with the support. Blocks are kind of solid and they don't allow you to move any deeper once you've hit them. So think about using a pillow or a blanket in this case. But if you can and you can tolerate it, let the leg fall out. The front leg is extended. You can either point your toe if you're finding too much stretch going on in the back of the leg when you lean forward, or if you want more stretch, you can flex your toe so it's coming toward your face. We're just going to rock just gently and find our sit bones. The sit bones are those little bones that are at the bottom of your pelvis, and when you're sitting, you can feel them. So as you rock, you'll feel them moving back and forth underneath you. So rocking forward on our sit bones, pushing our belly down, bringing our belly as close to our leg as we can today. I'm going to start our timer. We're going to be here for 4 minutes. Take a deep breath in. On your exhale, just allow yourself now to start to relax down. Remember, if the stretch in the back of your leg is intolerable, you can bend your knee slightly or point your toe. If it's not enough stretch, you can flex your toe toward your face. Focus on your belly, bringing your belly down toward your thigh. You'll feel the pull at the base of your bum cheek, up your back, and the back of your leg. Take a deep breath in, exhaling through the mouth. If you need to, take a few more of those breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Take a deep breath in, exhale through the mouth. See if you can relax down just a little more. A deep breath in through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Relaxing down just a little more. Almost there. Slowly coming up, using your hands to help push you back up again. Just become aware of where you're feeling things as you do move upward. We're going to bring our knee up toward our chest, both of them. Hug them in. So we're going to spend a few seconds in this position, and this is called the rebound position. What happens is after the stretch, everything, your muscles, your tendons, your fascia have become stretched out, and then we bring them back into a contracted position so that our body can recover. We need to have a little bit of recovery time before we demand anything else of that particular part of our body, because right now it's very vulnerable. So we give it a few more seconds just to get back into the position it originated from. But because of the nature of yin, it will never go back as tight as it was before you started. It might be just a micro movement, but it's definitely a looser place now than it was a few minutes ago. So we're going to exchange legs now. So we're going to stretch out the left leg, bringing the right heel in toward our body. So sometimes when we switch sides, we're more flexible on one side than the other side. That's completely natural. You might find this side easier. You might find it harder. It's up to you where your body is at right now. So try to work within the ability of the particular side you're working with. So if you can go deeper on this side, fantastic. If you can't, don't beat yourself up. It's the way you are right now. So it's going to start the timer. We're going to take a deep breath in. You can stretch up through the rib cage if you like. And on your exhale, just drop your belly down toward your leg. Find your stretch. Don't take it too far, too fast. Give your body time to relax into it. So if you want to, you can flex your foot here. You need more sensation. If it's too much sensation, point your toe or bend your knee slightly. Another deep breath in through the nose. Exhale. Release the tension in your body. Noticing where we're feeling it and what we're feeling. Let's take another deep breath in. Exhale. Allow yourself to relax just a little more. Remember, whenever you need to, whenever you feel tension build up, just take that deep breath in, exhale. Don't wait for me to cue you. You can do this as often or as much as you feel you need to. A deep breath in, exhaling through the mouth. Remember, it doesn't matter how close you are to your leg in this stretch. It's about whether or not you're feeling the stretch. So as long as you're feeling it, you're doing it. Let's take another deep breath in. This time, really let it go. Really moan it out. One more deep breath in. Exhale. Come up very slowly, walking your hands back toward your body, using them to push you upright. Don't make your back do the work. Bring your knees up to your chest and just hug them in. Just going to spend about 30 seconds here just recuperating. So a lot of people have a problem with Yin Yoga because of the fact that we spend 4 minutes or more sometimes in a stretch position. And it's kind of boring for some people. Now, some people find it very relaxing. They're the lucky ones. The ones that find this difficult or boring, you need to work on that, because this is what you really need. You really need to quiet your mind down for a few moments. During this hour we're spending doing the yin, you have lots of opportunity to just quiet down your mind and think about nothing. You don't have to think about anything. As a matter of fact, it's a meditation practice. So for 4 minutes that we're in these stretches, you are having little 4-minute meditations. And all you need to do is just think of a word, a nice word that would be calming for you, like love or peace. And just repeat that to yourself every time your mind starts to think about whether or not you should be doing the dishes right now, or off grocery shopping, or what you have to do next week. Just allow yourself time to just let your brain relax and be calm and be at peace. We're going to go into the next stretch now, and we're stretching out both legs this time. But what I want you to have is a knee bend in this particular stretch. So I recommend you use a blanket as opposed to a block. But if you don't have a blanket, if all you've got with you today is a block, you can use that as well. And I just noticed that Connie checked in just as we were starting. Hi, Connie. So we're going to take this blanket, or your block if you didn't have a blanket, or if you've got a small cushion, you can shove that under there too. Just behind the knees. That's important. So we're actually resting our thighs onto the blanket. This will keep us in this relaxed knee position. So this posture is imitating the standing forward fold. In the standing forward fold, we have relaxed knees. We never have them ramrod straight. So we're keeping ourselves honest here by keeping that little bit of a relaxed knee bend. You can either have your feet, toes up to the ceiling. If that's too intense, you can point them out straight. So what we're going to do now is we're going to inhale and reach up through our rib cage, stretching up, stretching up. You can lift your hands up if that helps you to stretch out. Take a deep inhale here. And on your exhale, you're going to bring your belly and your chest down toward your thighs. And you're going to start to feel the legs in the back start to talk to you a little bit. And you're going to feel your low back start to talk to you. It's going to stretch, and you might feel it a little bit too intensely. If it's too intense, just back it up a tiny bit until your body starts to relax into it. So we're going to take a deep breath here again. In through the nose, out through your mouth. And we're going to begin. Once you've got yourself relaxed and settled, you can let your head droop. Or if you feel that that's too hard on your neck, you can support your head here. But that's at the risk of keeping you from going deeper into your stretch. So that is not the best solution unless you're really, 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 really having a hard time keeping your head up. Take a deep breath in. Another way you can use this is this way. You can have your legs separated. Put your forehead on your bolster cushion to relax your head. That's another option. Let's take that deep breath in again. Exhaling through the mouth. For those of you that are able to get deeper into the stretch and you can reach the bottom of your feet, or at least your shins or your ankles, you can grab them to help pull you deeper in, but don't be in a hurry. Just find where you're feeling it and then relax into it. And when it goes away, then try to see if you can get it back again. Deep breath in, exhaling through the mouth. Take a deep breath in, exhale. One more deep inhale. Exhaling through the mouth. And then using your hands, you're going to push yourself. Don't push into your knees, push into your legs above your knee or below, bringing yourself slowly upright. Then bring your knees up toward your chest. Just breathe gently. Breathe normally. I hope y'all didn't hear my stomach growling. For some strange reason this morning, it's decided it's hungry earlier than I'm usually eating. Okay, we're going to go into our next position called deer pose. So I'm going to go through how you set yourself up for deer pose. You probably could use a cushion if you like. It might help you with getting yourself organized into the deer pose. So I'm going to show you first with a cushion. So I'm putting the cushion on a little bit of an angle here, just because that's the direction of this particular type of shape. And I'm going to sit on the cushion with one leg behind me. Just going to move a few things out of our way. So for you, you may not be able to get your leg this far, or it may not be able to touch the ground. You might be able to get it back here, but your knee is quite high up. And if you try to rotate it toward the floor, it's too much stretch. So this is where you can use a block. You can use your blanket. Again, if you're able to get down just as far as touching the blanket is the better option, because now you're going to be squishing, you're going to be using gravity to help you squish down closer to the floor. If you can pull your leg back, this part is okay to do for you, and you can pull your leg back toward your bum. And you can put this leg touched in toward your groin. As you see, I'm sitting right now, and it feels way too comfortable. You come off your cushion. So I'm going to show you. So if this is not doable for you, you're going to use your cushion, and you're going to use it to help elevate your hips in order to facilitate your hips dropping and rotating toward the floor. If it's too comfortable, you come off the cushion and you start to try to bring both cheeks down to the mat. So that's your goal. You may not get both cheeks down to the mat. You might feel one definitely touching and the other one is just kind of hovering, or you could slide your hand underneath there and it's not resisting your hand doing that. You're just going to try to shift your weight over toward that. You're going to feel it right in the hip joint. I'm telling you right now, you're going to feel it. As long as it's not a sharp pain, as long as it's tolerable and it's more like an aching pain. But I want to take the word pain, it's achiness, then you're okay. You're going to try to push your heel onto the floor, but be careful about here in your knee. If your knee is experiencing any kind of sharp pain, you need to pull your heel away from your bottom. So you need to unbend the angle of your knee, okay? So hopefully you've got all that. So find your position. I'll give you a second or two to get in there. This is not an easy one. It's definitely not easy. But what it does is it's helping your hip joint to get the rotation it needs for the interior and the exterior rotation of the hip joint. Little less work is going on here. And you might even be looking more like this, in this side. Because sometimes we can rotate internally easier than we can rotate externally. And some people can rotate externally much easier than they can rotate internally. When I first started this particular posture, I was more like this. In the very beginning, I was more like this. So if you're looking like this and you're sitting on a cushion and you're feeling your hip joints stretching and trying to bend, you're doing it. Don't worry. Now, 8 years later, I can get into a much different looking position, so I don't want you to get into your head about what I look like. I want you to try to find your way, your journey to ending up looking like this. Now, I've been here for a while, so hopefully some of you have already been here for a while, but we're going to go for 4 minutes now. I'm going to start the timer now. If you can't push your bum down with your weight to touch the mat, you can always use your other hand and just push against, just to tip you in that direction. So if I push against the mat and I start tipping in this direction, I'm feeling it now in the internal rotation of my hip socket. Here, I'm not feeling anything. There, yes. And because this is a very intense posture, if you go from feeling very uncomfortable in this particular posture, which you should always be feeling uncomfortable, to feeling excruciatingly uncomfortable, or you feel like you really need to get out of it, even if I haven't told you to. Listen to your body. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Let all the tension come out. This is definitely one where you'll feel tension building inside you as you try to stay into this posture. So those deep, deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth, do them, lots of them. Don't wait for me to tell you. Take a deep breath in, exhaling through the mouth. Deep breath. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Using your hands to help you, you're very gently going to lift the back leg up. Place your foot down. Take your time. Just a small rotation in the hip joint to bring your foot flat to the floor. You're going to lift up the other knee, bringing that foot flat to the floor. You're going to stretch your legs out this time. Just shake them, jiggle them, wiggle them, rock them back and forth. Just relaxing all that tension that built up in here. Just breathe for a few moments. Nice deep breaths. Hopefully that wasn't too bad, because you got to do it again, but on the other side. All right. So we're going to switch sides now. So now this time we're going to bring the one that we had in the front, we're going to bring it to the back. So if you want to stay up on your cushion and see how that feels, quite often it feels quite different the other side. So you'll have to play with that. So we're bringing, this time the left leg is going to be bent and the heel coming toward our bottom. And the right leg is going to be in the front and it's going to be coming toward our groin. And again, whatever yours looks like, if it doesn't look like this, you can sit up on your cushion to help support you through it. If your knees are way up like this, just find some way to keep your cheeks on the floor and support yourself at the same time. You might have to move this leg out. Just play around with it until you get something that looks like this, that is not putting any kind of twisting pressure into your knee joint. The knee joint should be fairly comfortable. If all you're feeling is just a stretch in the front of the knee, in here, that's okay, because that's stretching this muscle that's attached to the top of the knee. But if you're feeling some sharp pains going on inside the actual joint itself, that means you're torquing things, and you don't want to be doing that. So you're going to have to rearrange your body, whether putting a block here to rest your leg on, but then that might put too much pressure there. So worst case scenario, you take your leg right out of the equation and you just bring this in. Find your position. Let's go. Make sure, for those of you that look more like me, you're pushing both cheeks down toward the mat. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Take a deep breath in again. Exhale. Take another deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Very, very slowly, taking your time, using your hands to help you. You're going to bring the back leg forward, placing your foot on the ground in front of you. And then you're going to bring the front leg up, place that foot on the ground. Hug your knees into your chest for a second, and then stretch them out. And whatever you feel like your body wants to do here, just to make that more comfortable, just do it. Shake it, rattle it, roll it. So I'm sorry about that one, but it's a really good one for the hip joints to start to get them moving in the direction internally and externally rotating them. So I'm going to come down on my back now. So I want you to come down as well. I'm going to get this out of the way. Don't need that. I could come down on a bolster, but I'm not going to do that because I'm not sure how many of you have bolsters. So perhaps you could tell me that of those of you that are regular watchers, do you have a bolster? If you do, I'm going to show you next time we do yin a wonderful position that you can use if you have a bolster and a block. So stay tuned for that one. For now, I'm just going to get that out of the way. I've got a blanket here that I'm going to use this for my head. So I'm going to unravel it a little bit because I don't want it to be too high. I just want to have enough of a lift that my back of my head doesn't feel like it's overstretching my neck. Because as we get older, we have a little bit more tenderness in our neck area simply from wear and tear. We've been carrying around this bowling ball for a long time. So a lot of movement happening over the years in our neck, some of it good, some of it not so good. I'm just going to take a sip of my tea. So grab a block. Hopefully you have a block or a couple of books that you're using as a substitute for a block. And come down onto your back, roll on your back, bring your knees up and roll around a little bit because you have been upright for a while. So just to give your body a chance to flatten out. Rock and roll. Let your shoulders relax down. And if you like, you can go in circles. Circle one way for a little while, then stop and go the other way. And then we're going to drop our feet onto the floor. And we're going to take our block and we're going to lift up our hips. And we're placing the block between our hip bones on our back. This is your area called your sacrum. So it should feel very flat and comfortable there. It's not on your spine, so make sure you can put your hand underneath your back here. So your back has got a little bit of a arch bend back in it. We're on the flattest side of the block, not the high side, not the middle side. And from here, you can stay right here, like this. You can have your knees bent as little or as much as you like. If you like, you can stay right here, just like that. If you want to add a little bit more to this stretch, you can bring your arms behind you. It will help your belly to lift up and push your shoulders down, and it will increase the bend in your back, so make sure your back is okay with that. And if you really feel like you could handle it, then you can stretch your legs out into this position. So we're stretched out, running out of room here. This is the elongated version of that. But if you're here and this feels good and you can feel it, then don't worry about it. Stay right there. I'm going to start the timer. 4 minutes here. Whoops. Deep breath in. Take a deep breath right into your belly. Exhale through the mouth. Lots of those deep breaths. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And sigh them out. Take another deep breath in through the nose. Exhale through your mouth. bring our legs that are stretched out, those that have them stretched out, let's bring them back in. So feet flat on the floor. And if you have your arms over your head, bring them back down by your sides. Just let them relax there for a moment. We're going to be coming off the block in a second. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to push your feet into the floor, lift your hips up just enough to slide the block out, but gently, very, very gently, bring your back down toward the floor. It'll feel pretty good when it hits there. And we're going to keep our feet on the floor, but separate our knees so that each foot is on either side of your mat, so they're nice and wide apart. And then just gently windshield wiper your knees to one side and then to the other side. Back and forth, windshield wipering them, not fast, very slow. Just to release your back. Flatten it back down again. And once you feel your back is really nice and relaxed by doing that, just stretch out your legs and go into your position for Shavasana, which in Yin is star pose. So wide arms, wide legs. Relax your shoulders down to the mat. Chin is up toward the ceiling. So you're facing the ceiling. Take as many of those deep breaths as you need in order to be able to relax yourself down into Shavasana. Deep, deep breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Just relax here. Let your legs relax. Let your back relax. With each breath, feel your body melting down, becoming softer, melting into your mat. Let your jaw relax. Let your tongue drop away from the roof of your mouth. And let your eyes relax back into your head. And let your breathing relax. Think of a place in your mind where you feel always at peace. And just go and spend a little time there, in that place. Begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes, waking your body back up again. Give yourself a nice stretch. Stretch it out. Beautiful, long, luxurious body stretch. And then bring your knees up to your chest and give yourself a hug. Thank your body. It's important to do that. Thank you, body. Roll over to one side. Doesn't matter whichever side feels most natural for you. Take a few moments here, just breathing and just being. Going back to the gratitude. All we're grateful for. And then slowly make your way up to a seated position. And join me now to close the class. Let's rub our hands together, generating some beautiful energy, some prana. And as you do this, think of the hip area, your back of your hips, the inside of your hips, the muscles attached to the hips, the hamstrings. Get some generated heat there. You feel it in your hands. Then close your eyes, place your palms over your closed eyes, and when you breathe in, open them. Sending that energy right down into those hips. And as you exhale, palms to ceiling, sending the energy back to the universe, scooping up just a little piece and bring it back to your heart center. Namaste. Namaste, ladies. Thank you so much. Now, remember, Yin Yoga is a little bit more intense because of the length of time we hold it, because of the positions we get our body into, and we worked a lot into the hip joint. So you're going to have achy hip joints for a day or two. This is a good thing. Don't be afraid of that. It's what you want. You want to feel that you're waking up those hips. You're getting them moving again to arrange. They haven't moved in a while. And it might be a micro movement of change, or it could be in a bigger change. Depends on where you're at in your journey for yoga. So you must take care of yourself. Give yourself a nice hot sit bath. You can rub some of that muscle ointment that you like the best to help you with your achy joints. Take Tylenol if you must. And, there's always a nice glass of red wine to help you. In any case, if you have any questions about what's going on with Yin, what's going on this month, and I saw a few of you said, yes, I have. No, I don't have bolsters. A yoga bolster, you can get them from B Yoga or Half Moon Yoga. They are the best investment that you can get. Get the big one. Get the one that's about, I guess it's about 18 inches wide and about 4 or 5 inches thick. Mine's a little bit squished down now. And it's probably about 36 inches or something like that, 36 inches long. I wish I had measured it so I could tell you more accurately what the size is. There are different sizes. They're not cheap, but if you go on Amazon, I think you might be able to find some deals there. They're worth the money because they last a long time. And they're so versatile, especially for Yin Yoga. So it's a good investment. You can make a bolster. I think I had that in a few of my newsletters a month or so back, where you can make a bolster by buying a couple of cheap from the liquidation places. Just had a brain fart. Sleeping bags. Some sleeping bags. And you can roll up the sleeping bags and make a casing for it if you're handy with a sewing machine. And you can create a bolster that way. You just need to have it strong enough that you could lean on it and it won't collapse completely. It has to be thick enough that you can do that. So it's a very dense pillow. If you sit on it, it gives a little bit, but not a lot. It's firm, very firm. It's like a firm mattress. It's like a futon. That's only a small version of a futon. So, any questions? Oh, okay. So Susan Edwards, she likes the class. Oh yes, the release of emotions. I can't talk enough about the Yin Yoga and emotional release. because we're stretching areas of the body that we hold our tension in, and we hold the memory of our tension in those areas. There's a lot of science that backs this up, especially your fascia. Your fascia is this very, very interesting material that is photonic. It sends photonic impulses through it. They're actually beginning to do some science to prove that it is what holds memory. And that when your brain thinks of something, say you say yoga bolster, that it comes up with an image, and it's actually your fascia that sends that photonic image to you, as opposed to what we used to think was a nerve ending that was doing the work. Well, the fascia works a lot faster, and there's wonderful science behind that. I wish I could point you to the right direction. I'm going to look that up. Maybe I could put that in a newsletter coming up. But that is where we start to stretch that fascia out deeply, deeply in Yin Yoga, and in the emotions that come up dependent on what you buried in there. If you have buried your tears, you held back your tears, you had emotional grief and you buried it but it wasn't a good time to be crying in front of people, or maybe you had to be strong. It's in there still, and it's going to come out. If you have been burying anger against things that have happened to you, your anger might come bubbling up. If you have held back being laughing about things that you found funny, but it wasn't a good thing to laugh at that time, you might laugh out loud while you're doing Yin Yoga, and you don't know why. It's a really, really strange phenomenon that happens. Embrace it. It gets less and less potent as you do more and more Yin, and your body gets looser and looser because you've released everything that's in there, or you're always releasing all the time. So I kind of miss those days when I used to have a good cry doing Yin. But if you're having that happen, it's a good thing. It's letting your body release the stress and the tension that's built up in there and has been impacted into the joints. Any other questions about Yin? Any questions about what you read in the newsletter? Any questions about how to get a newsletter? Newsletter is very simple. You go to my website, www.northernzenyoga.com. And one of the drop-down tabs says newsletter. And all it is just a sign-up page. You just go in, you sign up, give permission for me to send it to you. And you will automatically be uploaded, and the next newsletter that goes out will go to you. How often can you do Yin Yoga? Well, for some, that is their yoga practice. Some people are just Yinners, and they do Yin Yoga 4 to 6 times a week. I think that that's not necessary. I like the other yoga practice too, but I like to do Yin twice a week. The other thing about Yin is that you can incorporate postures of Yin into times you're doing nothing else. As a matter of fact, I think I've got a video, it's a few months back, that I put out that doing Yin Yoga while you're watching TV. You can actually use the commercial time toward your best advantage. So instead of doing a whole hour of yoga, Yin Yoga, you can pick and choose postures that maybe work on the areas around your hips. Sit on the floor, go into like a position, like an easy pose position, lean forward, find your stretch, and hold it for 1 or 2 of the commercials. Sometimes they're 15 seconds long, sometimes they're 30 seconds long. And we know that if you're really into like holding it for 5 minutes, that most commercial breaks now are 5 minutes. So you can use the commercials while you're watching TV to be your timer. I did that the first several months of yoga. I did that. I went once a week for a Yin Yoga class, but then during the evenings, every day, I would be practicing some of the postures, the seated postures, half butterfly, cobbler pose, things like that. And I would time it through the commercial, how long I could hold it. So that's an option. But definitely, I recommend once a week. Twice is better. More than that, if you want to give up your other yoga practice, then that's up to you. But don't do both. Don't be doing a yin and a regular yoga practice in one day. It's not good for you. As a matter of fact, if I was teaching in a studio and I was teaching 2 or 3 yoga classes a day, I would barely participate in any of them because that's too much yoga. It's too hard on your joints. It's going to have the opposite effect to the joints that you want it to have. So very, very often you will see yoga instructors walking around during a yoga practice, instructing you, adjusting people. That's what we're really meant to do. Because I do yoga with you, because that's part of my practice, to do it, to keep it up through the week. It helps me to keep my practice up because of what's going on in the world. And I'm not teaching much more than a couple of times a week. I can afford to add that practice into my practice. And I can't see what you're doing anyway, so I can't help you from that angle. But don't overdo yoga. It's undoing the goodness it does. Any other questions? And yes, you can drink during yoga. You can have a cup of tea. You can have a glass of water. You can have your water bottle handy. You should always be hydrating. So this week we talked about, in the newsletter, Yoga in the Brain. There was a great article. If you haven't taken the time to read the link that I put into the newsletter to an article on Alzheimer's, dementia, and yoga, please check it out. If you know anyone that is headed down that path toward beginning stages of dementia or Alzheimer's dementia, then you should have them look at yoga as part of the option for their treatment. It stimulates their brain. It gets the organizational processes going on in the brain in a better position. It helps them to focus and to concentrate and get the blood flow to the brain happening. Yoga is one of the most effective ways of helping to get your blood flowing through your body, oxygenating your body, your organs, and your brain. Your brain on yoga is a very good thing. Oh, the pose that we did that was the hard one, that's deer pose. The deer pose. Yes, I promise I won't throw that one in too often. It's a good one, but it's a hard one. That one is even hard on me. I can get much deeper into it than I could years ago, but I can feel my hips because of that right now. Any other questions? Don't forget to like this video feed before you leave. I don't know why, but YouTube loves it when people say they like stuff. So click on the like. And if any of you are joining me next Wednesday for the Zoom call and chat, I'll be sending out that link to you very shortly. There's still some space if anybody has realized that it's next Wednesday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So if you suddenly realize you'll be available and you would like to be part of that Zoom chat, then send me to northernzenyoga@gmail.com a request so that I can add you to my list, my send out list, and I will mail you out the link, and you should be getting it Sunday or Monday at the latest. No more questions today? You're all hanging in there, so maybe you want to ask a question and you're just nervous about doing that? Anyway, oh yes, I wanted to tell you, I sort of forgot this at the beginning. When I go on my little retreat, I'm really hoping that the weather is cooperated enough that I can do a video outside that has a beautiful deck in the front. So I'm hoping that the weather will be nice enough that I could actually do a video. I won't be able to upload it because there's no internet, there's no Wi-Fi anywhere near the place. But when I get back, I'll be able to upload it to the channel so that you can see a practice or some part of thereof of a practice being done in the great, beautiful outdoors of the North. Anyway, seeing there's no more questions. Oh, Janet has one. Well, Janet, she says she felt it in her leg instead of her hip. What part of your leg? If you're talking about your knee joint, or are you talking about the muscles in the thighs? So if you could just send me a quick answer to that, I'll be able to help you better. Because it's quite a different experience if you're feeling it in your knees. You need to be very careful about your knees. Can you answer that one for me, Janet? Just where did you feel it in your leg? Oh, she's not answering, so I don't know where she got off to. Okay, so when we're in this position, we have to be mindful of our knee. So we bring the leg back, we keep this part pretty much in line with itself, and we're turning the hip joint inside the socket. We're rotating the hip in the socket. So if you're bringing your leg down and you're feeling a lot of pain in the knee area, you need to raise the leg up till that goes away, or extend your leg out until it goes away, one or the other. Because what you don't want to do is to be torquing the knee joint. That is a no-no. We never ever do that in yoga. I don't care how the teacher explains it to you. You should be never ever feeling a twisting or a torquing sensation in your knee joint. You need to modify whatever you're doing to stop that. However, you might not feel it so much in your hip area, but you might feel it down here in this big muscle, because you're taking the muscles that are attaching itself to the hip joint and you're pulling them as you turn your leg toward the floor. So in the thighs muscle. Yes, good. She's saying in the thigh muscle. So that is a good thing. The thigh muscles are a good thing. You're going to feel it in here, and you might feel it. It's really not twisting too much unless you're having a rotational problem in the opposite direction, where you're trying to push this part of your leg down toward the floor, and you're feeling the groin area pulling into the thigh muscle. So feeling it in your thighs is what is good. You're feeling it there. I feel it there. I feel it a little bit in here, and then it radiates out into the big muscle, and that's what we want, because this big muscle is what's really stretching. Your hip joint, if there was no muscles attached, would just roll around in the joint. The only thing stopping it from doing that, from spinning around in the joint, you've seen a Barbie doll, right? You can do that with Barbie doll leg, is muscles and tendons. And they have a range of motion that they're allowed to do within a safety zone. Once we get past this particular range of motion, we're tearing and we're injuring things. So that's why it's important to differentiate between the stretch and the pain. Pain is sharp, it's sudden, it's warning. It's a warning that you're going into the tearing zone. So if all you're feeling though is this beautiful radiating achiness into that thigh muscle, you know that that's all you're doing, is you're stretching the thigh muscle that's here, and there's ligaments and tendons that come up and they attach to the hip joint to stabilize it. And you're pulling on that. You're pulling on that connection, and you're giving it a good stretch. The fascia is stretching. If you have a lot of fascia buildup that's tough and tight in around your thighs, it's going to ache as well. Although fascia itself doesn't have any real physical sensation, but it attaches to everything, so it's pulling on all of the muscle structure itself as its rigidity is being challenged. So yes, but anytime you're feeling it right in here, right between the two bones of the knee, the bottom and the top, you need to stop immediately because that's doing damage. So, hope that helped. I know I always go overboard in my explanations. So anyway, I'm going to go now. I'm going to go have myself some breakfast because that's what I do. I only eat twice a day. So this is the first meal of my day. And I'm going to go and have something wonderful to eat. And I want you guys to have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for your donations that you've been sending to me. I appreciate it very much. It helps me to produce the videos. And I will see you on Thursday. Remember, it's Thursday this week at 1:30, not Friday. Friday is Good Friday. It's Easter weekend. Namaste, everyone. I'll see you Thursday. Love you. Bye.